Alrighty, good morning everyone. DataSelf Analytics, a must-have. Many people think about reporting and it's like something nice to have or better or faster, but actually DataSelf Analytics is a must-have in a certain context. What is the context? Well, there's a lot of BI offerings in the small and medium-sized businesses, a lot of them. It's sometimes very confusing for resellers to know which ones they should support. Why are we a must-have? Well, in a nutshell, if you look in this chart here, we are the one who provide the biggest return on investment for resellers as well as for end users. At the end of the day, is the easiest to use, is the fastest, and still is the most expensive almost among the other BI vendors. Pretty much, our product, our solution is a good fit for the top 20% of your market. Doesn't matter if you sell Sage 100, Sage 300, 500, X3, CRM, Sales Logics, Microsoft Dynamics, it doesn't matter. In your client base for each one of your products, we are usually the greatest fit for the top 20%. And usually that's where you make the most of your money. That's where you have your most important clients. So while we're not going to be covering all the smaller, not sophisticated clients. That's not our place. But for the top 20%, we are a must-have. So if you don't have bigger clients, if you only have small clients, maybe you should not be in this webinar. But if you do have some large clients, you should pay attention to us, engage with us, and get those clients happier and get more, more value from them. So that's where we fit. We are at the top of the SMB BI market. Now, who needs BI? If you look today, probably how you're working with the BI tools, typically the people who use BI, the users of BI per se, are actually consultants, IT, and accounting people. These people, they usually go through extensive training, days, sometimes weeks, to become kind of, proficient in using the BI tool. It doesn't matter if it's, Crystal or Excel, which are very complicated, if you're using Sage Intelligence or BizNet or whatever. Those tools are designed for the experts. Now, the people who really need the BI are the people making decisions, the decision makers, the people who are building things, selling things, managing people, managing processes. These people often, they're not necessarily IT savvy. Yes, they use computers, but they're, if you give them a complicated BI tool, they can only view it. They cannot build new reports from scratch. They cannot slice and dice reports from scratch. But these are the people who know the business, who know the opportunities, who know the threats. These are the people that are often coming up with questions. Why is this happening? Or why something is not happening? And they need information. If decision makers do not have a BI system that allows them to find information about their businesses, they're not getting the best out of it. They're not making the most informed decisions. They're not growing their business as quickly. They're not calling you, the reseller, as often to buy more licenses because they're growing. So these are the people who need easy-to-use BI tools, decision makers, people who are not IT sophisticated. And that's why you must have DataSelf Analytics in your portfolio to give to those users the tool that they need. It's a must-have. It's not because it's pretty. It's not because it's easy. It's not because it's faster. It's because these people need something easy to use, and we are the offer in the SMB market. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. We want to show you, the reseller, how you can profit by leveraging DataSelf Analytics for your client base. My name is Johnny Girardi. I'm the CEO and founder of DataSelf, and I appreciate your time investing in our webinar today. So how can we deliver such an ease of use? How can we be like, targeting the top 20% of your client base? Well, when I founded DataSelf about 10 years ago, the vision since the beginning is pretty straightforward. Decision makers, as I mentioned, they're usually not IT sophisticated, but they need easy-to-use reporting tools. And if you go to Fortune 2000 companies like Walmart, Target, Boeing, these companies, the management, they have tools that they can access their data anytime, anywhere, using desktop, web, and mobile devices. But these companies, they have pretty big budgets to tackle BI. So in the Fortune 2000 world, BI analytics is really easy to use by management, but these companies pay a fortune for those solutions. Well, when I founded DataSelf, I thought, well, I can actually think that I can find in the upper market, in the Fortune 2000 world, BI vendors that can fit the mid-market needs with a very entry-level cost. And we started this journey 10 years ago, and we came a long, long way. Today, if you look at this slide here, I have Gartner, which is one of the most reputable companies doing technology assessment in the Fortune 2000 world. And they just released, once a year they release assessments of different technologies, like in this case, BI and analytics. They just released the latest assessment. And make a long story short, these two vendors, Tableau and Microsoft, in the Fortune 2000 world, they are the leaders in analytics and BI. Tableau is considered by far the best analytics solution, providing dashboarding, ease of use for decision makers. And Microsoft is pretty much the best providing BI infrastructure for Fortune 2000. So what about them? What about us? Well, it goes back to the vision of the company. When you get DataSelf Analytics, you actually get Tableau, which is the leader in analytics. You get Microsoft BI infrastructure. We add our secret sauce, which pretty much comprises of an ETL that removes programming from the other two vendors. And we have built more than 5,000 reports, dashboards, and KPIs out of the box. So companies who acquire DataSelf Analytics, they get nothing but the best BI technology from the upper market, the easiest to use and more scalable, but they get very quickly. It usually takes hours or days to deploy. We have been doing this for our team for more than 15 years. So, there is expertise on the BI technology. There's expertise with the mid-market ERP and CRM systems in how to deploy all these pieces together to make them easy, fast, and inexpensive. Finally, if people try to build this kind of solution from scratch, typically they're going to be spending 6 figures just to get the solution built from scratch, and we can actually, get the solution started for pretty much, 4 to 5 figures. Is much, much more affordable. So that's why we can bring the best of the breed technology, super easy to use at an affordable price. At the end of the day, from a user standpoint, this is the user-centric approach. All other BI offerings that you find in this market are what we call expert-centric. Someone will have to go through extensive training and be supporting everyone else. And this person is typically not the decision maker. They are IT, accounting, or a consultant. They don't know the business necessarily. They don't know the opportunities. They don't know the threats. The business people know that, and they have to be talking with this person to get new reports or slice and dice new reports. It's not efficient. So being user-centric is really a major benefit of our technology. Now, in my presentation today, I'm going to be talking about some concepts like this, and then I'm going to go back and tell specifically how resellers like you can get more out of it and can start selling it to it. So right now I'm going to show a little bit of, the ease of use of the technology. So a little demo right now, and then we'll come back to the PowerPoint, showing the user-centric approach. So let me show, this is the desktop product. We have desktop, web, and mobile device user interfaces. I'm going to show right now three main things that people can do very easily using this reporting tool. One is just building from scratch a very simple but very detail-oriented report. I want to see customers, I want to see sales, invoice number, products, things of that nature. I want to show how easy it is to just drag and drop. I'm going to be using my mouse, but if I were on an iPad, I could be using my fingers. Second, I'm going to show how to build a kind of a trend analysis, showing some charts, putting information on maps, and see how easy that's possible. And third, I'm going to put all the information on a dashboard that could be easily shared with other people that are, on the field, selling, managing, and doing their stuff. So let's see how that works. So first of all, I'm using what we call a sales connector. This would be attached to your sales information, your ERP information, your CRM information, whatever comes sales, this would be the sales connector. And this is a simple sales connector. So here we have what we call dimensions, which are the entities that people want to analyze their sales. I could be looking at purchasing, financials, receivables, payables, whatever. In this case, I'm looking at sales dimensions. And at the bottom, we have the actual measures that people wanna take a look at. So let's say I want to see sales by customer. So what I have to do is I go to my customer, expand, and I choose, let's say, customer. Just drag and drop into my rows here, and I have my customers. I want to see sales, so I kind of drag and drop sales into my report. And there it is. I have sales by customer. It's kind of similar to a pivot table, but it's much easier and much faster. Okay, well, typically when I'm looking at information, I want to see in a certain period. So let me drag dates into my columns. And right now in my sample database, I have only 3 years, so I see sales by year by customer. Well, I could easily drill down into data. Let's say I want to see by quarter. So expand the year, and now I see information by quarter. Maybe I want to expand the quarter into months. I just expand quarter, and I go into months. So very easily and quickly, the user can do that kind of information and drill down. Let me go back to the quarter level. Well, in my sample database, my last quarter is quarter 3, 2014. What if I want to see detailed information, let's say invoice number, document date, product sold to these customers in that quarter? Well, I can filter information in many different ways. Let's say I drag dates to my filter shelf, and then I can choose filter buckets, or I can use relative date. Relative date is very popular because it shows you time buckets or date buckets comparing to today's date. Like I want to see this year, last month, last quarter, same quarter last year. So relative dates are helpful because they're always what you're looking for, year to date, this year to date. Let me show how that works. So here I have different time buckets. So if I choose years, I can see this year, previous year, next year, last, whatever number of years, next, or quarters or months. In my case, we are, if you want to capture this third quarter of 2014, I'm going to select the last quarters, last 3 quarters. In my sample database, I only have Q3. If I have an actual database, I will have Q4 and Q1. So I'm selecting only that quarter. Okay, so that was easy to slice just by a little piece of information. Now, what if I want to see more information? Invoice number, invoice date. Well, I can go to invoice details, expand, and just drag and drop what I want. Invoice number, I put right here. So now by customer, I have invoice number and the total of each of those invoices. Very simple. Maybe invoice date. Drag and drop. And now I have invoice date. Maybe I should put date before the invoice number. Just move things around. And now I have date and then invoice number. maybe product line, ship to, warehouse, you name it. It's just drag and drop. You just have to find yourself where the information is and just drag and drop. Very easy. Pretty much any business person that put a little bit of time into this, they learn how to do this from scratch. They don't need to call anyone else. They can build these reports anytime, anywhere, using web, mobile, and desktop devices. Very easy, very intuitive. Okay, so this was a very simple example, very detail-oriented example. Now, let me create a new sheet here and show two kinds of trend analysis. First, let's say I want to see my sales. So let me drag sales to my report. So these are all sales in the whole company history. But I want to break down sales, let's say, by month. So I take date, month, year, drag to my columns, and now I see by month how the sales are growing over time. Okay, that was easy. Well, in this sample database, I have 4 companies consolidated. So this is actually consolidated sales from 4 different companies. Not customers, I have 4 different ERP packages, and I have brought them all together with a single view of sales. What if I want to see the individual sales by each of the companies? Well, I can take the company and just drag into my color shelf, for instance. And now for every company, I have a different line with a different color. Okay, that was cool. Now, what if I want to see another measure? Information coming from my CRM, from my Google Analytics, from whatever you want. Well, in this sample, I have website visitors that would be coming from Google Analytics. Let me see if website visitors and sales are kind of related to each other. Well, let's drag website visitors. So here I have website visitors. Let me make bars out of the website visitors so it's kind of easier to tell bars or visitors, lines or sales. And then I can start see if the number of visitors relates to sales, and you can have an insight from this perspective. Okay, so this may be a very useful report for my sales analysis. I want to build another one. I'm going to click New Sheet. And then in this example, I want to see sales by geography. So let's say I want to see customer address. It could be shipped to, it could be anything that has a geography component. I want to see by state. I want to see, my deal sizes, small, in medium, and large deals. And I want to see sales. So I just selected those 3 pieces of information. And then I go and plot this on a map. Let's see what we get. Right there, I got the map of the U.S. Let's make the bubbles a little bigger. And then I see bigger bubbles, bigger sales. Then each bubble is sliced by the size of my invoices, the aggregation of the size of my invoices, large, medium, and small invoices. And that was it. As you can tell, I do not need to be highly technical to build a very nice and sophisticated queries, and I could be doing this on a mobile device. Finally, I want to put all of these 3 queries in a single dashboard, and let's say I want to share with my Salesforce, which is using, let's say, iPads. So now I'm going to create a new dashboard, and I'm going to tell what size of the screen this dashboard is going to be optimized for. I could say automatic, just adjust itself for any screen size. Or you can design specifically for some kind of, screen resolutions, like an iPad. If my Salesforce is an iPad, I can design it specifically for that screen resolution so it's more efficient for them. And then you just drag and drop as many queries as you want into your dashboard. So that was the map. Let's put the second sheet, any of these quadrants. Let's see on the bottom. And then the other sheet on, let's see, on the corner here. Just drag and drop, and there it is. You got your report. Very intuitive, very easy to use. We have several of our clients, salespeople, managers, CFOs, controllers, COOs, CEOs, doing this, things that before it would take hours, sometimes weeks of consultants going back and forth to put it together. And that's the power of this analytics solution for end users. You give to the largest clients, the clients who are more sophisticated, who are more data-driven, the ones who are growing the most, you give this kind of tool or this tool to their decision makers, and you'll be impressed by how much better they become. They're going to be growing faster and require more from you, more CRM licenses, more ERP licenses, more services, more systems. You'll be impressive how much better they'll become, because now they can make more informed decisions anytime, anywhere. If you give the other, BI tools available in the mid-market, these people will rely on experts, and they won't be able to have information anytime, anywhere. They're not going to be making the best timely decisions, and you're not going to be allowing them to grow so quickly. So for your top of your market, be sure to offer DataSelf Analytics. It's a must-have. You got to embrace it. Now, let me go to the next slide here. Now, the tool is easy to use, as you could tell. Very impressive, super fast. The sample database I'm using has 1 million records. And even though I'm doing on an ad hoc analysis, things take seconds to happen. It's super fast as well. Now, being easy and being fast is great. However, if you give a user like just an easy reporting tool, sometimes they don't know where to even start. What should I do first? What should I look for? Well, because of that, and because we know that people are busy, we have built more than 5,000 reports, dashboards, and KPIs as a starting point. In many of these reports and dashboards, they are critical for many companies that are, doing business, selling things, or trying to improve their processes. So this is usually a solid foundation as a starting point for your clients to take advantage of these analytics. About half of our clients, they are happy with the out-of-the-box. They just call the reseller or us when they need upgrades, more licenses, or when there's server crashes. So it's a very comprehensive out-of-the-box solution. The other half, they'll be requesting services, customization services on an ongoing basis. So anyway, this 5,000 is a very solid foundation. Let me show you a little bit of some of these out-of-the-box reports. I'm going to start showing first financial ones, some financial examples. So on the financial side, typically DataSelf Analytics helps with dashboarding in ad hoc analysis out of financials. Most clients, they already have their balance sheet and profit and losses tackled by the ERP package. But they need dashboards. They need to be able to analyze that information from different angles, different slice and dices. This is an example of a financial dashboard that is very easy to build. Could be anything, but this example is showing revenues and projection. We have quarterly information, so by different quarters we see by different cost centers how the revenues were, and then more details about this particular quarter, the revenues, the gross profit, amount, and percentage. And then this month, even more detailed information. And in this month, this information here, bookings, open sales orders, expected revenues, projection, this information may be all coming from the GL module, or maybe not. Maybe something is coming from the open sales order module, or maybe from the CRM system. It does not matter. It's information for financial analysis. We bring to the connector, to the GL connector, let's say, and now the decision makers would be able to build a dashboard from scratch like this, anytime, anywhere, and make more informed decisions. So anyway, financials is awesome because people need to slice the financials in different ways to be able to make more informed decisions. Let me show another example here on the financial side. This one here is a very detail-oriented report. I have a multi-company framework, so several different companies, different ERP packages, and then we have at the top a consolidated view of this company's main metrics. Revenue last year, by week, this year, last year, the change, the percentage profit, number of customers, last year, this year, customer growth, revenue per customer. They're just different KPIs or key performance indicators that were designed for this dashboard, and then viewing on a weekly basis. This can be weekly, it can be fiscal period, it can be monthly. It's very easy to change the buckets. The same information could be viewed showing charts. Some people are very chart-oriented. This is an example, just showing revenues, last year in blue, this year in red, by week, and then this is accumulated of sales as the weeks move forward. Just some different kind of dashboards. Let me show a couple more on the sales side. Most people, when they come to us, they want to improve their sales processes, their sales analysis. Let me show some of the popular sales analysis out-of-the-box reports and dashboards. This one is a top performer dashboard. In this example, is a top customer by sales this year. So these are the top customers by sales, and bigger bars mean bigger sales. The color of the bar is how profitable these customers are, and profitability is also showing on this axis with the black dots. Once you learn how this dashboard works, it becomes easy to find out which of these customers are more critical for me to work more closely. If in my business profitability is a major metric, maybe these customers in red, I should work closely to try to make more profit out of them. Anyway, the idea is to give business people quick insights into what they should do next. You don't want them to spend time massaging the data. You want them to spend time thinking how they can solve the problems, how they can take advantage of the opportunities that nobody is taking care of. So giving quick insights is critical, and this tool does a great job. Another type of reporting which is really critical for many companies is looking at the tip of the growth curve of your major metrics. So just see what's growing the most and what is declining the most, because usually that's where the opportunities and the threats are. This is a good example. If you are a company that sells to recurring customers, like if you're a distributor, if you're a manufacturer, if you are in the services business with recurring customers, well, people who are growing the most in sales since last year to date, most likely they are well served. Salespeople are working closely with them. Maybe these are not problems. I mean, it's really good. Bigger sales means bigger sales increase means bigger bars here. Now, how about these customers who are declining the most in sales since last year? Why are they declining so much? Is there something you need to do to reverse the trend? Well, funny thing is, people are busy, very busy nowadays, and quite often salespeople, they call the prospect, they call the clients, they leave messages, they leave emails, and people don't call back, don't email back, and then it's going to take another month, maybe 2 months for the salesperson to call back again. And maybe some of these customers who are declining the most in sales, they need more attention. Maybe they need a visit. Maybe there's something wrong that if you don't act proactively in a timely fashion, they'll be gone for good. So looking at the top growth and decline of your major metrics is critical. And we have many reports out of the box like this that will help your clients focus their efforts where it matters the most. So this is part of the out-of-the-box solution that we have that helps your business, your client's business, to become much more efficient and more effective. My last example out of the box that I want to show is what is called exception reporting. And this is a good example of exception reporting. Exception reporting is looking at things that are no longer happening. For instance, if you sell to recurring customers, which ones are no longer buying? If you have products, which products have no longer been moved out of the inventory? People are usually busy. They're taking care of things that are happening, but they don't pay attention to things that are no longer happening. And sometimes you should. If you're not selling some kind of products, get rid of them. Make a big promotion. Donate. Get them out of your inventory because you have to give room and energy to the things who matter the most. Customers, if they're no longer buying, is that a problem? Should you do something about it? Well, this dashboard here shows 4 different quadrants. Customers who were buying the last 60 days, but not in the last 30, maybe not a problem. Maybe they were buying the last half a year, but not in the last 2 months. Or maybe they were buying the last 3 years, but not in the last year. Maybe the last 5 years, but maybe not in the last 2 years. The point is, in your client's business, which clients are critical? And this is a way to view that typically if you have recurring customers, you want to avoid people to falling into no longer doing business with you. And sometimes part of the problem is acting on them before it's too late. So keeping track of these trends are critical, and out of the box we have lots of reports to show that. Alrighty, so this was a little overview of the more than 5,000 reports, dashboards, and KPIs. Let's move forward. So what's in it for you as a reseller? Well, first of all, nowadays most likely you are selling a lot of hours of your services, selling Crystal reports, services, or maybe Excel reporting, Access reporting, some other BI tools. Well, DataSelf Analytics will put your reporting services in a much higher value services level. Typically, people who have this kind of reporting tool, they pay top dollars for getting this kind of technology. So you'll be able to sell reporting services for much more money because let's say if today you charge, let's say $1,000 for a report, maybe for, now those reports, people can actually do it themselves. So you're going to lose this $1,000 revenue out of the Crystal initiative. However, the customization of the DataSelf Analytics server is more complicated, and they'll need someone that is expert on the back end to make those changes. And the labor to make those changes is much more higher value than Crystal reports. So you'll be able to sometimes to sell a few hours for $10,000. You sell a project, oh, you have a problem, I can sell it for $10,000. It maybe takes you 10 hours to fix the problem. They have no idea. They need you. If they're going to hire someone else, it's going to take a lot more, a lot longer. You can deliver much higher value services because you become a more sophisticated BI expert. Second, you'll sell more licenses. You'll sell more DataSelf Analytics, of course. However, you'll be selling more ERP and CRM. How come? 2 ways. First of all, most of the resellers, when they engage with DataSelf Analytics, what they do is when they are working with new prospects for ERP and CRM, the first thing they show to the decision makers of the prospects is not ERP, is not CRM. Those things are not so exciting, are kind of boring. You got to have it. Here's how you build an invoice. Here's how you do a GL posting. Do you think the guy writing the check really cares? He needs it, but what he wants is information, easily, quickly, anytime, anywhere. That's what the guy who writes the check wants. So the reseller success with DataSelf Analytics, what they do is when they show their solutions to the prospect, to the guy who writes the check, they start showing DataSelf Analytics because that's what the decision maker wants. Easy access to information anytime, anywhere. So you'll be able to sell more ERP and CRM because now you're providing to the guy who writes the check value that they appreciate. Second, because these companies are going to be more effective, more efficient because their management are making more informed decisions, they will need to buy more user licenses for, I'm sorry, for the ERP, for the CRM, and for the BI. And that's the value that you get, more license sales as well. More satisfied clients. If you give them the tools that the management can be happier, I can guarantee you they will be thanking you for helping them move their business forward. So being, customer satisfaction is ultimately the biggest goal for all of us. And those are the main benefits for you. Co-marketing. So we will help you get co-marketing initiatives going with your client base. We will provide you with a website pages so you can have on your website information about analytics and how it can help your client's business. We want to do joint marketing with your client base. Typically, we suggest twice a year or more if there's more demand. We will provide you newsletter content. Usually at least once a quarter, we're going to be giving you analytics-related content for your newsletter if you have. Sometimes we have even more often than once a quarter. And we can do co-marketing initiatives with social media, providing you also content so we can educate your client base about the benefits of analytics for your client base. Now, what is the next step? The next step is let's sell. Let's help you sell. Let's help you get the first sale. Because once you see how quickly and how easily you can get your first sale, once you get one under your belt and you get your consultants training on doing pre-sale and kind of the basics of selling, then it's going to be so much easier for you to decide, should I make this a major initiative of my practice, or Johnny, thank you, it was good, but I'm going to only keep one because it was not worth it. It's a valid question. We know you're busy. We have a lot of priorities. But I guarantee you, if you got your first sale, you'll engage with us. And so that's what the next step is. I want you to get one sale in the next couple of months. How can we do it? Well, let's identify 3 hot prospects. Let's work together. We'll help you. We'll make the sale. We can be as a DataSelf resource, or we can be one of your resources working on this prospect. I'll guarantee you, if we go through 3 prospects together, we'll get a sale out of it, and then you can decide if you're going to engage with us further or not. How can you find those 3 hot prospects? Well, typically they should have revenues over $10 million. If you don't have clients over that range, probably you should not be here because we usually typically target the larger clients. It does not matter what accounting package they have or what CRM they have. If they have more than $10 million in revenues, it's a hot prospect. And if you have those prospects that are in distribution manufacturing, it's even better because for those businesses, that vertical, our out-of-the-box solution is impressively efficient, is impressively hook, is a big hook. People will want it. Sometimes we get more than one sale out of these prospects. So what I want you to do right now is just think about 3 hot prospects, write it down. Right now, write it down, and then after this webinar, I'll be sending you an email asking, who are the 3 prospects? Let's work together and let's make this happen. So I'm going to give you half a minute for you to just think 3 prospects that fit this profile and write down the names right now, please. All right. So if you haven't thought about all the 3 hot prospects, after the webinar, please just spend a minute or so to write it down. Let's make one sale together. It's going to be successful. You're going to really appreciate what you go through. And I guarantee that after this process, we'll engage more fully. We'll enable you to be able to do the selling, to do the services. But getting the first client under the belt is a critical component of the success. So please, if you haven't come up with the 3 prospects, spend 1 minute after this webinar to write it down. Let's talk later and get the ball rolling. All right? Alrighty. I want to be sure I leave plenty of time for questions.